Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of If I Can Do It, You Can Do It. This month's video is about hammering on and pulling off. It's one of those techniques that I think a lot of guitar players can take for granted and don't really put in the time to develop or to make sure that it stays up to par with other techniques as they develop. It's one of those techniques that's just kind of ubiquitous and it's sort of everywhere, and you learn it kind of just by happenstance, right? You may learn it while playing a song that just kind of has it built into a chord section or built into a riff, like Tie Your Mother Down by Queen. You might learn it, as a couple of my students have, as the lead from Thunderstruck. But then you might also start getting into hammering on and pulling off through tapping, in which your right hand is hammering on and pulling off, and your left hand could either just be hammering on or hammering on and pulling off, depending on what kind of tone you're trying to affect. Point is that it's everywhere. So it's one of those techniques that it's important to know exactly how to execute it so that you can integrate it into all of these different things. So we're going to go through the mechanics of the actual movement, and then we'll get into the exercises that I've developed that'll help you build it. So let's take a look at the actual mechanics of a hammer-on. You're going to be taking one finger, we'll be using our index finger, and you're going to be just kind of pressing into the fret of your choice. In this case, I'll be pressing onto the 4th fret of my low E string. Now, a common mistake I've seen a lot of people do when they're first doing this technique is they'll go like, or they'll use their whole hand to do it. Relax. Anchor your hand with your thumb in the back. That way, this will provide you enough support so that really the only part of your hand you're really going to be using is the actual finger that you're doing it with. That's the hammer-on part. For all intents and purposes, 50% of this video... For all intents and purposes, half of this video is done. But hammering on and then simply pulling away doesn't sound great. So that's where we come into pull-off territory. Now, to better explain the pull-off, I'm going to go ahead and turn my guitar like this. We know how to hammer on now, right? You just kind of press into the string. But to get the pull-off sound, you're going to change your approach a little bit. After hammering on, you're going to pull down, not enough to bend it, and then let it escape underneath your underneath your fingertip. Notice the difference between just hammering on and pulling away and hammering on and pulling off. Two distinct tones of equal volume combined. Now you can go ahead and do that with all 4 fingers. And the video could probably just end there. I could tell you, go ahead, walk across the fretboard, do it wherever you can. But that doesn't make for much of a good practice session. I could show you a chromatic exercise where you just kind of go. And while there's nothing wrong with those kinds of exercises, my biggest qualm with chromatic exercises is that they don't seem to address how to integrate these new techniques into patterns that we already know. And I feel that's the quickest way to get familiar with a new exercise. So what I've done is I've developed an exercise that involves both the 1-3-4 pattern and then switching to the 1-2-4 pattern. So you'll be using your index, ring, and pinky. And then you'll be using your index, middle, and pinky, and you'll be doing them in both ascending forms and descending forms across all 6 strings. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. At most, you're going to use your pick 1 or 2 times in this entire exercise. The whole idea is to really build up your hammer-on and pull-off strength. However, it's not to say that you can't use your pick while doing hammer-ons and pull-offs. There's plenty of great songs that combine the two, and you'll be free to explore that from here on out. But we're looking to build the exercise, right? We're looking to build the movement. So first, let me show you how the exercise works. What you've got there are a series of ascending and descending patterns using, again, the 1, 3, 4 and the 1, 2, 4. You do both ascending and then both descending, and then you move on to the next string and you do them there. And the reason why I picked those patterns is because they're found in both your major and minor scale, and honestly in a lot of different riffs that you'll play while learning songs in general. You can take this technique and apply it to chromatic riffs, of course, and you can take this technique and apply it to riffs with perhaps a bigger spread. But you want to start somewhere, right? And so as opposed to having you just do chromatic runs, we're going to do it like this. So let's go ahead and walk through that. You want to hit your low E string, hammer onto the 4th fret, pull off, hammer onto the 6th fret with your ring finger, pull off, hammer onto the 7th fret with your pinky finger, pull off, come up to the 6th fret on the E, hammer on with your index finger, hammer on to the 7th with your middle, and then hammer on to the 9th with your pinky. So far we've got now we're going to go backwards. Now, you're not typically going to stop after hitting that 9th fret on the low E. What you're going to do is you're going to walk backwards from it using the momentum that you've generated with the initial hammer on and pull off. So, to start over, and then you're going to go, so you're going to hammer onto the 9th fret of the low E, hammer onto the 7th with your middle finger, 6th with your index, move your hand, 7th with your pinky, 6th with your ring, 4th with your index. So to recap, that's now as far as moving on to the next string, you will have enough momentum going out of that exercise to just hammer on to the 4th fret of the A. So it'll look like this. And you continue that across all 6 strings until you get the pattern shown earlier. And there you have it, the exercise that I believe will help you not only begin hammering on and pulling off, but will help you accelerate at the rate at which you get good at it and integrate it into patterns that you already know. If you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like on the video and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Shout out to my patrons as always for providing me the support that I need to help these videos get around the internet and to help fund this channel. If you're interested in becoming a patron, head on over to patreon.com/DaveMudo, where for as little as $1 a month, you can vote on polls to help me decide what song to cover in the future or what topics to cover in these videos. And you can also request tabs for the songs that I cover or even audio stems for the higher tiers. I will see you next week with a new video game song cover, and I'm not going to tell you too much about it. It is RPG related, but it's not Final Fantasy. I know, shocker. I'm not covering a Final Fantasy song this month. It's one of those clutch RPGs that when you were looking for a Final Fantasy, you may have picked this one up on the side, and it was the best decision you ever made. I'll leave it to you to wonder what song it could possibly be. Either way, I'll see you next week with a new cover song, and I'll see you next month with a new guitar lesson video. Bye, everybody.